My name is Loretta Mae Whitmore, and I am 73 years old. For the past 52 years, I thought I knew everything about my husband Harold. I thought our marriage was built on honesty, trust, and all those beautiful promises we made to each other back in 1973 when we were just two young kids standing in that little church in Cedar Springs, Nebraska. But I was wrong. So terribly, painfully wrong. Before we go any further, I need you to do something for me. If you are hearing this story right now, please hit that subscribe button below this video. Turn on your notification bell so you never miss another powerful story like the one I am about to share with you. These stories matter. They remind us that we are not alone in our struggles. And please, drop a comment telling me which part of the country you are watching from. I want to know who is here with me today, who is listening, who understands what it feels like to have your whole world turned upside down in a single moment. Hit that like button if you believe in justice, if you believe that truth always finds a way to come out, no matter how long it takes. Now, let me take you back to that night. The night everything changed. It was a Tuesday evening in March, just 3 months ago. I remember because Tuesday was always meatloaf night in our house. Had been for decades. I always made Harold his favorite dinner on Tuesdays, with mashed potatoes and green beans, just the way his mother used to make it. But lately, something had been different. Something had been off. Every single night for the past 4 months, right after dinner, Harold would disappear into the kitchen. He would lock the door behind him. Yes, lock it. In our own home. The home we bought together in 1978. The home where we raised our 3 children. The home where we planned to grow old together, sitting on the porch and watching the sunset. At first, I thought maybe he was planning a surprise for me. Our anniversary was coming up. Maybe he was learning to bake, trying to make me a cake or something sweet. Harold was never good in the kitchen, so I figured he wanted privacy while he practiced. I smiled at the thought. After all these years, my husband was still trying to impress me. How sweet, I thought. How lovely. But 2 hours? Every single night? 2 full hours behind that locked kitchen door? I started to worry. Was he sick? Was he hiding some kind of illness from me? My mind went to dark places. Cancer, maybe. Was he taking medication he did not want me to know about? Was he crying in there, dealing with pain he was too proud to share? I tried to ask him about it. Gently, carefully. Harold, honey, what are you doing in there every night? You can tell me anything, you know that. He would just smile at me. That same smile he had given me for 52 years. Nothing for you to worry about, Loretta. Just some projects. Man stuff. You would not understand. Man stuff. Those words should have been my first warning sign. Then came that Tuesday night. The night I found out the truth. Harold had gone into the kitchen as usual, right at 7 o'clock. I heard the lock click. I sat in the living room, watching my shows, but I could not focus. Something in my gut was screaming at me. Something was terribly wrong. A wife knows. After 52 years, a wife knows. I got up from my chair. My knees hurt these days, arthritis making every step painful, but I walked to the kitchen door anyway. I pressed my ear against it, listening. I heard Harold talking. His voice was low, soft, almost a whisper. But he was definitely talking to someone. My heart started racing. Who was he talking to? We did not have a phone in the kitchen. His cell phone was charging in the bedroom. I had seen it there myself. Then I heard it. A sound that made my blood run cold. Laughter. A woman's laughter. Coming from inside my kitchen. But that was impossible. There was no one else in the house. Just Harold and me. We lived alone. Our kids had moved away years ago. Kansas City, Denver, and Portland. They had their own lives now, their own families. So who was laughing in my kitchen? I reached for the doorknob with shaking hands. I tried to turn it, but it was locked. Of course it was locked. It was always locked now. Then Harold said something that stopped my heart completely. I know, baby. I love you too. Same time tomorrow night? Baby? My Harold was calling someone baby? Someone who was not me? And tomorrow night? This had been going on for months. Every single night. Behind that locked door. I stumbled backward, my hand clutching my chest. The room started spinning. All those nights. All those locked doors. All those hours. What had my husband been doing in that kitchen? And who was the woman laughing on the other side of that door? Retry. I did not sleep that night. Not one single minute. I lay in bed next to Harold, staring at the ceiling, listening to him snore peacefully like nothing was wrong. Like he had not just broken my heart into a million pieces. Like our entire marriage was not crumbling around us. How could he sleep so peacefully? How could he lie there, inches away from me, after what I had heard? I love you too, baby. Those words kept playing over and over in my head like a nightmare I could not wake up from. When morning came, Harold got up at 6 o'clock like he always did. He kissed my forehead like he always did. He made his coffee and read his newspaper like he always did. Everything was normal. Everything was exactly the same as it had been for 52 years. Except nothing was the same. Nothing would ever be the same again. I watched him across the breakfast table, this man I had given my whole life to. His hair had gone completely white now. His face was wrinkled and weathered from all those years working construction. His hands, those strong hands that had built our house, that had held our babies, that had held me on our wedding night, were spotted with age now. Who was this stranger sitting across from me? You feeling all right, Loretta? Harold asked, looking up from his newspaper. You look pale. I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to throw my coffee cup across the room. I wanted to demand answers. But I did not. Instead, I just smiled. That same smile I had been giving him for 52 years. I am fine, Harold. Just tired. He nodded and went back to his newspaper. Just like that. He did not press me. He did not ask more questions. He just went back to reading about sports scores and weather reports while my whole world was falling apart. After he left for his morning walk, I sat alone in that kitchen. Our kitchen. The same kitchen where I had cooked thousands of meals for our family. The same kitchen where I had packed school lunches for our children. The same kitchen where Harold and I had danced on our 20th anniversary, slow dancing to Frank Sinatra on the radio. Now that kitchen felt like enemy territory. Like a crime scene. Like the place where my marriage had died. I started thinking back, trying to remember when things had changed. When had Harold started spending those 2 hours in the kitchen every night? When had the locking door become normal? It was November. Right after Thanksgiving. We had hosted dinner for our daughter Marlene and her family. They had driven all the way from Kansas City. It was supposed to be a beautiful holiday. Everyone was there. The grandkids. The laughter. The turkey. But I remembered something now. Something I had not thought about before. Harold had been on his phone a lot that weekend. More than usual. He kept stepping outside to take calls. When I asked him about it, he said it was his buddy from work. Something about a hunting trip they were planning. I had believed him. Why would I not? Harold had never lied to me before. At least, I thought he had never lied to me before. Now I was not sure about anything anymore. I got up from the kitchen table and walked to the locked drawer in Harold's desk. The drawer where he kept important papers. Birth certificates. Insurance documents. His will. The drawer was never locked. We did not keep secrets from each other. We never had. I pulled it open and started looking through the papers. I did not even know what I was looking for. Evidence? Proof? Something that would explain what was happening. Then I found it. A cell phone. A second cell phone. Hidden under a stack of old tax returns. Harold had a second phone. A phone I did not know about. A phone he had been hiding from me. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. I pressed the power button. The screen lit up. There were no passwords. No locks. It opened right away. And there, on the screen, were text messages. Hundreds of them. All to the same number. All from the past 4 months. The most recent one was from last night. Right after Harold had come out of the kitchen. It said, "Tonight was perfect. You make me feel alive again. I cannot wait to see you tomorrow." I scrolled up, reading message after message. Each one worse than the last. Each one cutting deeper than a knife. Then I saw the name at the top of the conversation. The name of the woman my husband had been talking to every night for 4 months. And when I saw that name, I dropped the phone. Because it was not just any woman. It was someone I knew. Vivian. Vivian Carmichael. My best friend of 40 years. The woman who had been my maid of honor at my wedding. The woman who had held my hand when I gave birth to my first child. The woman who had cried with me when we buried my mother. The woman I had trusted with every secret, every fear, every dream I had ever had. Vivian was the woman my husband had been calling baby. I stood there in Harold's office, staring at that phone, and I felt something inside me break. Not just my heart. Something deeper. Something that could never be fixed. How long had this been going on? 4 months, according to the messages. But maybe longer. Maybe years. Maybe our entire friendship had been a lie. I thought about all the times Vivian had come over for coffee. All the times we had sat in my living room, talking about our husbands, our children, our lives. She would complain about her husband Roger. She would say he did not understand her anymore. She would say their marriage had grown cold. And I would comfort her. I would tell her that all marriages go through rough patches. I would tell her to be patient, to remember the love they once shared. All while she was sleeping with my husband. The phone buzzed in my hand. Another message. From Vivian. "Good morning, handsome. Counting down the hours until tonight. I bought something special to wear for you." I felt sick. Actually sick. I ran to the bathroom and threw up everything in my stomach. I knelt there on the cold tile floor, shaking, crying, feeling like my entire life had been a joke. 52 years. 52 years I had been faithful to Harold. 52 years I had cooked his meals, washed his clothes, stood by his side through every struggle. Through the years when money was tight and we could barely afford groceries. Through the cancer scare he had 15 years ago. Through the death of his father and both of my parents. I had been there for everything. Everything. And this was how he repaid me. With Vivian. My Vivian. I pulled myself up from the bathroom floor and looked at myself in the mirror. I looked old. Really old. My face was wrinkled. My hair was gray. My body was not what it used to be. I had gained weight over the years. My hands were spotted and veined. I was 73 years old. Vivian was only 68. 5 years younger than me. She had always been the pretty one. Even in our 20s, men would look at her first. She had kept herself up better than I had. She still dyed her hair blonde. She still wore makeup every day. She still went to the gym. Was that why? Was I not enough anymore? Had I let myself go? Had I stopped being attractive to my own husband? No. No, I would not do that. I would not blame myself for Harold's choices. For his lies. For his betrayal. I walked back to his office and picked up that phone again. I started scrolling through the messages. I needed to know everything. I needed to know exactly what they had been doing. The messages went back months. They started innocent enough. Just friendly conversations. Vivian asking Harold for help with something at her house. Harold offering to fix her broken fence. Roger, Vivian's husband, had moved into a nursing home 6 months ago. Early onset dementia. He did not even recognize Vivian anymore. She had told me how hard it was. How lonely she felt. How scared she was of growing old alone. And I had felt sorry for her. I had invited her over more often. I had made sure she was not alone during the holidays. I had practically pushed my husband into her arms. The messages got more personal in December. Right around Christmas. Vivian telling Harold how handsome he still was. How strong. How she wished Roger had been more like him. Harold eating it up. Telling her she was beautiful. Telling her she deserved better. By January, they were meeting in my kitchen. Every night. While I sat in the living room watching television, completely unaware. I read message after message, each one making me feel smaller and smaller. Making me feel stupid. Making me feel like the biggest fool in the world. Then I got to last week's messages. And I saw something that made me stop breathing. Vivian had written, Roger's life insurance policy pays out next month. After that, we can finally be together properly. No more hiding. No more sneaking around. We can start our new life. Harold had responded, I cannot wait. I will tell Loretta soon. I promise. He was going to leave me. My husband of 52 years was going to leave me for my best friend. And they were just waiting for her husband's insurance money to do it. I sat in that office for 3 hours, reading every single message on that phone. Every word. Every emoji. Every disgusting, heartbreaking lie. They had been intimate. In my kitchen. While I was in the next room. They would turn on music to cover the sounds. That was why Harold had installed that new radio in the kitchen last December. He said it was a Christmas present for me. So I could listen to my favorite songs while I cooked. It was never for me. It was so I would not hear him with Vivian. I read about how they had almost been caught one night when I got up to get water. How Harold had hidden Vivian in the pantry. How they had laughed about it afterward. Laughed. They had laughed at me. I read about their plans. After Vivian got Roger's insurance money, she would buy a little house in Florida. Near the beach. Harold would divorce me and move down there with her. They would spend their golden years together, walking on the sand, watching sunsets, living the life I thought I was going to have with my husband. And what about me? What was I supposed to do? Where was I supposed to go? I found the answer to that question too, in a message from 2 weeks ago. Vivian had written, what will happen to Loretta? Do you think she will be okay? Harold's response made me want to die. Loretta will be fine. The kids will take care of her. She can move in with one of them. She always wanted to spend more time with the grandkids anyway. This will work out for everyone. He had my whole future planned out. Without asking me. Without caring what I wanted. I was just a problem to be solved. A piece of furniture to be moved out of the way. 52 years, and this was what I meant to him. Nothing. Less than nothing. I put the phone back exactly where I had found it. I closed the drawer. I walked back to the kitchen and sat down at the table. My hands had stopped shaking. My tears had dried up. Something inside me had changed. Something cold and hard had replaced the broken, crying woman from this morning. I was not going to fall apart. I was not going to beg Harold to stay. I was not going to make a scene or cry or ask him why I was not good enough. No. I was going to do something else. Something Harold and Vivian would never expect from quiet, docile Loretta who had spent her whole life making everyone else happy. I was going to fight back. But I had to be smart. I had to be careful. Harold and Vivian thought I was stupid. They thought I would never find out. They thought they could keep their little secret until they were ready to destroy my life on their own terms. Well, they were wrong. I spent the rest of the day planning. Thinking. Remembering every detail of our life together. Our bank accounts. Our property. Our investments. Everything we had built together over 52 years. Harold thought he could just walk away and start fresh with Vivian. He thought he could leave me with nothing while he lived in paradise. He had no idea what was coming. When Harold came home that evening, I greeted him with a smile. I had made his favorite dinner. Pot roast with carrots and potatoes. I set the table with our good dishes. I even lit candles. "What's the occasion?" Harold asked, looking surprised. "No occasion," I said sweetly. "I just wanted to do something nice for my husband." "Is that so wrong?" He smiled and kissed my cheek. That same kiss he had been giving me for 52 years. The kiss that used to make me feel loved and safe. Now it just made my skin crawl. We ate dinner together. We talked about our day. Harold told me about his walk in the park. About the weather. About nothing important. He did not mention Vivian. He did not mention the kitchen. He did not mention that in a few weeks, he was planning to rip my entire world apart. At 7 o'clock, like clockwork, Harold stood up from the table. "I will be in the kitchen for a bit," he said. "Got some projects to work on." "Of course, dear," I said. "Take your time." I watched him walk to the kitchen. I heard the lock click. And I smiled. Because tonight, I was not going to sit in the living room and pretend everything was fine. Tonight, I was going to start gathering evidence. Tonight, I was going to start fighting for everything I had spent my life building. And Harold and Vivian were going to learn a very important lesson. Never underestimate a 73-year-old woman who has nothing left to lose. Retry. I waited until I heard Harold's voice through the kitchen door. That low, soft tone he used when he talked to Vivian. The tone he used to use with me, back when we were young and in love. Then I quietly got up from the couch and walked to the garage. We had an old ladder in there. The kind Harold used when he cleaned the gutters. I dragged it across the lawn to the side of the house. My arms were shaking from the weight, but I did not care. I had to know what was happening in my kitchen. I had to see it with my own eyes. The kitchen window was high up, but the ladder got me close enough. I climbed up slowly, carefully. My knees screamed in pain with each step. My arthritis was bad tonight, but I pushed through it. When I got to the top, I peeked through the window. And there they were. Harold and Vivian. In my kitchen. Standing close together, holding hands. Vivian looked beautiful. She was wearing a red dress. Her hair was done up nice. She had makeup on. She looked like she was going on a date. In my kitchen. In my house. Harold was smiling at her. That smile. The smile I thought belonged to me. They were not doing anything inappropriate at that moment. They were just talking. But the way he looked at her. The way he touched her face. The way he held her. That was worse than anything else. Because it meant this was not just about physical attraction. He loved her. My husband actually loved another woman. I took out my phone. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. But I managed to start recording. I recorded everything. Every touch. Every smile. Every word I could hear through the glass. I stayed up on that ladder for 20 minutes. My legs were cramping. My back was killing me. But I did not move. I recorded it all. Then I climbed down, put the ladder back, and went inside. I sat on the couch and waited. At 9 o'clock, Harold came out of the kitchen. His face was flushed. He looked happy. Younger, somehow. All done with your projects? I asked sweetly. Yep. All done. He sat down next to me and took my hand. "What are we watching?" I wanted to pull my hand away. I wanted to scream at him. But I did not. I just smiled and told him about the show I was watching. We sat there together, holding hands, like we had done 1,000 times before. Like nothing was wrong. Like he had not just been with another woman in our kitchen. The next morning, I went to see a lawyer. His name was Marcus Webb. He was young, maybe 40, but he came highly recommended. My daughter Marlene had used him for her divorce 3 years ago. I sat in his office and told him everything. I showed him the videos. I showed him the text messages I had photographed from Harold's secret phone. Marcus watched it all with a serious expression. When I was done, he leaned back in his chair and whistled. "Mrs. Whitmore, this is pretty damning evidence. Your husband is definitely having an affair. And based on these messages about the insurance money and their plans, we can build a very strong case." "I do not want a case," I said firmly. "I want everything. I want the house. I want the savings. I want my pension protected. I want him to walk away with nothing." Marcus looked at me carefully. "Mrs. Whitmore, Nebraska is not a community property state, but after 52 years of marriage, the courts will try to split things fairly. We can definitely fight for the house and the majority of assets, especially given the affair, but getting everything might be difficult." "Then we make it easy," I said. "I need you to help me understand exactly what we own. Everything. Every bank account. Every investment. Every piece of property. I need to know what I am fighting for." Marcus nodded. "I can do that. But Mrs. Whitmore, I have to ask. Are you sure you want to go down this road? Divorce at your age, after so many years together, it is going to be hard. Emotionally and financially. Some couples choose counseling instead." I looked him straight in the eye. "Mr. Webb, my husband is planning to leave me for my best friend as soon as she gets her husband's insurance money. He has already decided my future for me without my input. He thinks I will just quietly go live with one of my children and let him ride off into the sunset with the woman who destroyed my life. So yes, I am sure. I am not going to counseling with a man who has been lying to me for months. I am going to war." Marcus smiled. It was a small smile, but I could see respect in his eyes. "Then let us go to war, Mrs. Whitmore. Let us make sure you come out of this with everything you deserve." I shook his hand and left his office feeling stronger than I had in days. Harold thought I was weak. He thought I would roll over and accept whatever scraps he decided to throw my way. He was about to learn just how wrong he was. Over the next 2 weeks, I became someone I did not recognize. Someone calculating. Someone cold. Someone who could smile at her husband over breakfast while planning his destruction. Every night, Harold would lock himself in the kitchen with Vivian. And every night, I would gather more evidence. Sometimes I would record from outside the window. Other times I would press my ear to the door and use my phone to capture their conversations. I learned things about my husband I never knew. Things that made me sick. This was not his first affair. I discovered this by accident. I was going through old boxes in the attic, looking for financial documents Marcus had asked for, when I found a shoebox hidden behind the Christmas decorations. Inside were letters. Old letters. From women I did not know. The earliest one was from 1985. A woman named Patricia. She wrote about their time together. About how she would never forget him. About how she understood he had to stay with his wife and children, but she would always love him. Our daughter Marlene was only 7 years old. Our son Joseph was 5. Our youngest, Catherine, was just a baby. Harold had been cheating on me even then. While I was home changing diapers and making dinner and being a good wife and mother, he was with Patricia. There were other letters too. From other women. Different years. Different names. Sarah in 1992. Michelle in 1998. Angela in 2005. My entire marriage had been a lie. Not just the last 4 months. The entire 52 years. I sat in that attic surrounded by evidence of my husband's betrayals, and I did not cry. I was beyond tears now. I was beyond heartbreak. I was something else entirely. I took pictures of every single letter. I brought them all to Marcus. "This changes things," Marcus said, looking through the photographs. "This establishes a pattern of infidelity. This shows that your husband has been unfaithful throughout your marriage. A judge will take this into consideration. We can use this." "Good," I said. "What else do we need?" Marcus pulled out a folder. "I have been doing some digging into your finances, like you asked. Mrs. Whitmore, did you know that your husband has been moving money out of your joint savings account?" My blood went cold. "What?" "Small amounts. 1,000 here, 1,500 there. It started about 6 months ago. He has moved almost $30,000 total into a separate account that only has his name on it. $30,000. Our retirement savings. The money we had been putting away for decades so we could enjoy our golden years together. He had been stealing from me. Preparing for his new life with Vivian. Can we get it back?" I asked. "We can try. But Mrs. Whitmore, there is something else. Something bigger." Marcus looked uncomfortable. "Your house. The one you and Harold bought in 1978. Did you know he refinanced it last year?" "He what?" "He took out a new mortgage. Against the equity. He borrowed $200,000. I felt dizzy. That is not possible. I would have had to sign papers. I would have had to agree." Marcus slid a document across his desk. "This is your signature, is it not?" I looked at the paper. It was my signature. But I had no memory of signing it. Then I remembered. Last spring, Harold had brought home some papers. He said they were to update our will. To make sure the kids would inherit everything properly. I had signed them without reading them carefully. I trusted him. I trusted my husband. "Where is the money?" I whispered. "Where did $200,000 go?" Marcus showed me bank statements. He used some of it to pay off Vivian's credit card debt. About $40,000. The rest went into that private account I mentioned. "Mrs. Whitmore, I think he has been planning this for a lot longer than 4 months. I think he has been planning to leave you for over a year." The room started spinning. Over a year. While I had been cooking his meals and washing his clothes and sleeping next to him every night, he had been planning to abandon me. "There is one more thing," Marcus said gently. "I found out that Vivian has been telling people, including her own children, that Roger's dementia was caused by stress. Stress from their marriage. She has been setting up a narrative that she was trapped in an unhappy marriage. That she deserves happiness now. That she and Harold found each other during a difficult time. She is rewriting history," I said quietly. "Making herself the victim." "Exactly. And if we are not careful, that is the story everyone will believe. That poor Vivian, whose husband got sick, found comfort with Harold. That you are the bitter ex-wife who cannot let go." I stood up. My legs were shaking, but my voice was steady. "Then we need to tell the truth first. Before they can control the narrative. Before Harold asks me for a divorce. We need to strike first." Marcus looked at me with something like admiration. "What do you have in mind?" I smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a woman who had been pushed too far. "I want to invite everyone to dinner. Our children. Vivian's children. Friends from church. Everyone who matters. I want to host one last family gathering." "And then what?" "And then I am going to show them all exactly who Harold and Vivian really are." Planning the dinner became my obsession. Every detail had to be perfect. Every person had to be there. Because this was not just about exposing Harold and Vivian. This was about making sure everyone knew the truth before they could spin their lies. I called my daughter Marlene first. She lived in Kansas City with her husband David and their 2 teenage boys. "Mom, is everything okay?" she asked when I told her I wanted to host a big family dinner. "You never do things like this anymore. You always say it is too much work." "I just miss everyone," I said, keeping my voice light and cheerful. "Your father and I are not getting any younger. I want to have the whole family together one more time. Please, sweetheart. It would mean the world to me." I could hear the concern in her voice, but she agreed. "Of course, Mom. We will be there. When are you thinking?" 2 weeks from Saturday. I am inviting your brother and sister too. And some friends from church. I want it to be special." Next, I called my son Joseph in Denver. He was harder to convince. Joseph was a lawyer, like Marcus. He was suspicious by nature. "Mom, what is this really about?" he asked. "You hate hosting big dinners. You always complain about the work. Can a mother not want to see her children?" I said, trying to sound hurt. "Joseph, please. I need this. I need to have my family around me." He was quiet for a moment. Then he sighed. "Okay, Mom. Rebecca and I will fly out. But if this is about trying to get us all to spend more time together or some guilt trip, I am telling you right now, it will not work. It is nothing like that, I promised. I just want one nice evening with the people I love." My youngest daughter Catherine was the easiest. She lived in Portland and always made time for family. "Of course I will be there, Mama," she said warmly. "Do you need me to bring anything?" "Just yourself, baby. Just yourself." Then came the hard part. I had to invite Vivian. I called her on a Wednesday afternoon. My hands were shaking as I dialed her number, but I kept my voice steady. "Vivian, honey, I am having a big family dinner in 2 weeks. I would love for you to be there. You are like family to me. You have always been like family." There was a pause on the other end of the line. A long pause. "Loretta, I do not know if that is a good idea. I would not want to intrude on family time." "You would not be intruding," I insisted. "Vivian, you are my oldest friend. My best friend. I need you there. Please. I know things have been hard for you with Roger in the nursing home. Let me do this for you. Let me give you an evening where you can just relax and be around people who care about you." Another pause. Then, "If you are sure." "I am sure. Please come. 7 o'clock, 2 weeks from Saturday." "Okay, Loretta. I will be there. Thank you for thinking of me." After I hung up, I sat there staring at the phone. She had no idea. Neither of them had any idea what was coming. Over the next 2 weeks, I played the perfect wife. I smiled at Harold. I cooked his favorite meals. I did not mention the dinner at first. I wanted him to hear about it from someone else. I wanted him to think it was innocent. Sure enough, 3 days before the dinner, Marlene called him. "Dad, are you excited about Mom's dinner party on Saturday? She said she is making all your favorites." I watched Harold's face as he talked to our daughter. I saw the confusion. Then the concern. "Dinner party," he said. "What dinner party?" When he hung up, he came to find me in the kitchen. "Loretta, Marlene says you are hosting some big dinner on Saturday. Why did you not tell me?" I kept chopping vegetables, not looking at him. "Oh, did I forget to mention it?" "I am sorry, dear. I have just been so busy planning everything." "Yes, the whole family is coming. And some friends from church. And Vivian too. I thought it would be nice to have everyone together." I saw him go pale. "Vivian is coming? Here?" "Of course. She is my best friend, Harold. Why would I not invite her?" I looked at him innocently. Is that a problem? No. No, of course not. We have not had a party in so long. Are you sure you are up for all that work? I am sure, I said sweetly. In fact, I have already bought all the food. I have been planning this for weeks. It is going to be wonderful. Just like old times. Harold nodded slowly, but I could see the fear in his eyes. He was trying to figure out what I knew. Trying to calculate if this was a trap. Good. Let him worry. Let him spend the next 3 days wondering if his whole world was about to come crashing down. Because it was. That night, Harold did not go into the kitchen. For the first time in months, he stayed in the living room with me. He kept watching me, studying me, trying to read my face. I just smiled and knitted. Like I had nothing in the world to hide. But in my purse, in a sealed envelope, I had copies of everything. The text messages. The videos. The love letters from all those other women. The financial documents showing how he had stolen from me. Saturday was coming. And when it arrived, everyone was going to learn the truth about Harold Whitmore. Saturday arrived with perfect spring weather. Sunny and warm. The kind of day that made you believe everything would be okay. But everything was not going to be okay. Not for Harold. Not for Vivian. Not after tonight. I spent the morning cooking. Roast beef. Mashed potatoes. Green beans. Fresh rolls. Apple pie. All of Harold's favorites. All the foods I had been making for him for 52 years. This would be the last time. Harold was nervous. I could see it in the way he kept checking his phone. In the way he kept asking me if I needed help. He never helped in the kitchen. Not unless he was hiding Vivian in there. Loretta, are you sure you want to do all this? He asked for the 10th time. We could have just ordered something. You did not have to go to all this trouble. It is no trouble, I said, stirring the gravy. I want everything to be perfect. This is an important night, Harold. Very important. He went pale again. What do you mean? It is just a family dinner. I smiled at him. That same sweet smile I had been giving him for 2 weeks. Of course, dear. Just a family dinner. The guests started arriving at 6:30. Marlene and her family came first. She hugged me tight and whispered, "Mom, you look tired. Are you sure you are feeling okay?" I am fine, sweetheart. Just excited to have everyone here. Joseph and his wife Rebecca arrived next. Joseph looked around the house suspiciously, like he was trying to figure out what I was up to. He had always been the smart one. The one who could read people. "Mom, what is going on?" he asked quietly. "You are acting strange." "Nothing is going on," I lied. "I just missed my boy." Catherine came last, carrying a bouquet of flowers. "Mama, these are for you. The house looks beautiful. You went to so much trouble. You are worth it, baby. All of you are worth it." By 7 o'clock, everyone was there. My 3 children and their families. Our pastor, Reverend Thomas, and his wife. 2 couples from our church group. 12 people total, all gathered in our living room, laughing and talking. Everyone except Vivian. She arrived at 7:15. I heard her car in the driveway and my heart started pounding. This was it. The moment I had been planning for weeks. I opened the door before she could knock. She was wearing a blue dress. Modest and elegant. Her hair was perfect. Her makeup was flawless. She looked like the picture of respectability. The grieving wife caring for her sick husband. The faithful friend coming to support her best friend's family dinner. What a lie. What a perfect, beautiful lie. "Loretta," she said, hugging me. "Thank you so much for inviting me. I have been so lonely lately. This means everything." I hugged her back, fighting the urge to push her away. Of course, Vivian. You are always welcome in my home. Always. I saw Harold across the room. He had gone completely white. His hands were shaking. He could not look at Vivian. He could not look at me. Good. Let him suffer. Let him wonder. Let him feel just a tiny fraction of the pain he had caused me. We all sat down to dinner. I had set the table with our best china. The plates we only used for special occasions. Weddings. Anniversaries. Holidays. Funerals. Everyone was talking and laughing. Marlene was telling a story about her youngest son's soccer game. Joseph was arguing with David about politics. Catherine was showing Rebecca pictures of her new apartment. Normal. Everything seemed so normal. But I could see the tension in Harold's shoulders. The way Vivian kept glancing at him. The way they were both avoiding looking at each other for too long. They knew something was wrong. They just did not know what. I stood up and tapped my wine glass with a spoon. The room went quiet. Everyone turned to look at me. I want to thank you all for coming tonight, I said. My voice was steady. Strong. It means the world to me to have everyone I love in this room. Family. Friends. The people who matter most. I paused and looked directly at Harold. Then at Vivian. I asked you all here tonight because I have something important to share. Something I have been keeping to myself for a while now. Something that I think everyone deserves to know. Marlene looked concerned. Mom, are you okay? Are you sick? No, sweetheart. I am not sick. I am actually better than I have been in a long time. Because I finally see things clearly. I finally understand the truth about my life. About my marriage. About the people I have been trusting. Harold stood up quickly. Loretta, maybe we should talk about this in private. Sit down, Harold, I said firmly. You have had months to talk to me in private. You chose not to. So now we are going to talk about this here. In front of everyone. The room was completely silent now. Everyone was staring at me. At Harold. Trying to understand what was happening. I reached under my chair and pulled out the envelope. The envelope with all the evidence. All the proof of what Harold and Vivian had been doing. I want to tell you all a story, I said. A story about betrayal. About lies. About two people who thought they could destroy a family and get away with it. Vivian started to stand. Loretta, I do not know what you think is happening, but I should probably go. Sit down, Vivian, I said coldly. You are going to want to hear this. Trust me. I opened the envelope slowly. My hands were steady now. No shaking. No fear. Just cold, calculated rage wrapped in a grandmother's calm exterior. 4 months ago, I noticed that my husband had developed a new habit. Every night after dinner, Harold would lock himself in our kitchen for 2 hours. 2 full hours. Behind a locked door. In our home. I saw my children exchanging confused glances. Marlene looked at her father. Dad, what is she talking about? Harold's face was red now. Loretta, please. Not like this. Not like this? I repeated. Then how, Harold? How should I have done this? Should I have waited until you asked me for a divorce? Should I have waited until you had already moved to Florida with Vivian and her dead husband's insurance money? The room erupted. Everyone started talking at once. Vivian stood up, her face white as a sheet. That is ridiculous, she said. Loretta, I think you have been confused. Maybe you should sit down. I am not confused, I said loudly. My voice cut through all the noise. I am not sick. I am not losing my mind. I know exactly what I saw. What I heard. What I have evidence of. I pulled out my phone and held it up. This is a video I took 2 weeks ago. Through my kitchen window. Because my own husband had locked me out of my own kitchen. I pressed play. The room went silent as everyone watched the screen. Watched Harold and Vivian standing close together in my kitchen. Watched them holding hands. Watched Harold touch her face tenderly. Watched him kiss her. Marlene gasped. Joseph jumped to his feet. Dad, what the hell is this? Catherine started crying. Daddy, no. Tell us this is not real. But Harold said nothing. He just stood there, frozen, staring at the floor. I pulled out more papers from the envelope. This is just one video. I have dozens more. Hours of footage. But that is not all. I also have text messages. Hundreds of them. Between Harold and Vivian. Planning their future together. Talking about how they would wait for Roger's life insurance to pay out. Talking about the house they would buy in Florida. I turned to Vivian's son Marcus, who was sitting at the far end of the table. He had come with his wife. He looked absolutely horrified. Marcus, your mother has been telling you that your father's dementia has been hard on her. That she has been so lonely. So sad. But what she did not tell you is that she has been having an affair with my husband. In my house. While your father is in a nursing home, not even remembering who he is. Marcus stood up and looked at his mother. Mom, is this true? Vivian's eyes filled with tears. You do not understand. You do not know what my life has been like. Roger has been gone for years already. His body is here but his mind is gone. I was so alone. So sad. And Harold, he understood me. He made me feel alive again. By sneaking around behind your best friend's back. Marlene shouted. By destroying a 52-year marriage? That made you feel alive? I held up more papers. There is more. Much more. I found letters in our attic. Letters from other women. Dating back to 1985. Patricia. Sarah. Michelle. Angela. My husband has been cheating on me for our entire marriage. Our entire marriage has been a lie. Joseph was pacing now, his hands in his hair. Dad, how could you? Mom gave you everything. Everything. She raised us. She took care of this house. She stood by you through everything. And this is how he repaid me, I said. By stealing from me. Harold refinanced our house without my knowledge. He forged my signature. He took out $200,000. He used $40,000 of it to pay off Vivian's credit card debt. He has been moving money out of our joint savings for months. He has been planning to leave me and thought I was too stupid to notice. Reverend Thomas stood up, his face grave. Harold, Vivian, is what Loretta is saying true? Harold finally looked up. There were tears in his eyes. I never meant to hurt anyone. I fell in love. Is that so wrong? Is it wrong to want to be happy? You are already married. Catherine screamed. You made vows to Mom. You promised to love her forever. I did love her, Harold said weakly. I still care about her. But Loretta and I, we grew apart. We became roommates. There was no passion anymore. No excitement. Vivian made me feel young again. I laughed. It was a bitter, harsh sound. So this is my fault? Because I got old? Because I did not dye my hair and wear red dresses for you? Because after 52 years of taking care of you and your children and your home, I did not have enough energy left to make you feel young? I looked around the room at everyone. At my children's angry, heartbroken faces. At Vivian's son looking at his mother like he did not know her. At our friends from church, shocked and disgusted. I brought you all here tonight because I wanted you to know the truth before Harold and Vivian could spin their lies. Before they could make themselves the victims. Before they could say that our marriage was already over, that they found comfort in each other during hard times, that love just happened. I threw the envelope onto the table. Papers scattered everywhere. Evidence of months of betrayal. This is who they really are. Liars. Cheaters. People who were willing to destroy two families for their own selfish happiness. I looked at Harold one last time. You wanted your freedom, Harold? You wanted to start a new life? Fine. You can have it. But you will not get a single penny from me. You will not get this house. You will not get my pension or my savings or anything else you think you are entitled to. I am filing for divorce on Monday morning. And by the time I am done, the whole town will know exactly what kind of man you are. Then I turned and walked out of my own dining room, leaving everyone sitting there in shocked silence. I had finally told the truth. And it felt like breathing for the first time in months. Retry. That night changed everything. After I walked out of the dining room, I went upstairs and locked myself in the guest bedroom. I could hear the chaos below. The shouting. The crying. The sounds of people leaving. Car doors slamming. Engines starting. I did not care. I had said what I needed to say. The truth was out. Around midnight, there was a soft knock on my door. It was Catherine. Mama? Can I come in? I opened the door. My youngest daughter stood there with tears streaming down her face. She wrapped her arms around me and held me tight. I am so sorry, Mama. I am so sorry. We had no idea. None of us knew. Soon Marlene and Joseph joined us. All three of my children, sitting with me in that guest bedroom, holding their mother while she finally let herself cry. Where is your father? I asked. He left, Joseph said, his voice hard. He tried to explain. Tried to justify what he did. I told him to get out. Told him he was not welcome in this house anymore. Not after what he did to you. Good, I whispered. That is good. The next morning, Harold came back for his things. Joseph and David stood in the doorway while he packed. They did not say a word to him. They just made sure he did not take anything that belonged to me. When he was done, Harold stood in the hallway and looked at me. Loretta, I am sorry. I really am. I never wanted it to end like this. How did you want it to end, Harold? I asked calmly. With you asking me for a divorce after you and Vivian had already planned your whole future? With me finding out from lawyers instead of from you? This ending is actually better than what you had planned. At least now everyone knows the truth. He left without another word. I watched him drive away in his truck. The truck we had bought together 5 years ago. The truck I had helped pay for with my teacher's pension. He never came back. On Monday morning, Marcus Webb filed the divorce papers. The judge, after seeing all the evidence, ruled in my favor on almost everything. Harold had to pay me back every penny he had stolen. The house was mine. My pension was protected. He got his truck, his clothes, and the money in his private account. Nothing more. But the real justice came from somewhere else. Vivian's children stopped speaking to her. Marcus, her oldest son, told her she had disgraced their father's memory. Her daughter refused to let Vivian see her grandchildren. The people at our church turned their backs on her. Everywhere she went, people whispered. Pointed. Judged. Roger's life insurance did pay out, just like she had planned. But instead of buying a house in Florida with Harold, Vivian had to use that money to support herself. Because Harold could not afford to take care of her anymore. Not after losing everything in the divorce. I heard through mutual friends that they tried to make it work for a few months. But it turned out that sneaking around in a kitchen was more exciting than real life together. Harold started to resent Vivian for costing him his family and his home. Vivian started to resent Harold for not being the fantasy she had built up in her head. Within 6 months, they broke up. Harold moved into a tiny apartment across town. Vivian sold her house and moved to Arizona to live near a cousin. Alone. As for me, I discovered something wonderful. I discovered that I did not need Harold to be happy. In fact, I was happier without him. My children rallied around me. Marlene started calling every day. Joseph helped me set up my finances so I would never have to worry about money. Catherine flew out once a month to spend weekends with me. I joined a book club. I started taking painting classes at the community center. I volunteered at the library. I made new friends. Real friends. Women who lifted me up instead of stabbing me in the back. I sold the house. Too many bad memories. Too many locked doors and whispered lies. I bought a small townhouse near Marlene in Kansas City. Close to my grandchildren. Close to family. On my 74th birthday, my children threw me a party. A real party, with cake and presents and laughter. The kind of laughter that comes from joy, not from secrets. Marlene gave me a beautiful necklace. Joseph gave me a new tablet so we could video chat more easily. Catherine gave me a journal with an inscription that made me cry, to Mama. The strongest woman I know. Write your next chapter. And that is exactly what I did. I started writing my story. The true story of Loretta May Whitmore. Not the story of a woman who was betrayed. But the story of a woman who fought back. Who refused to be a victim. Who stood up for herself when everyone expected her to quietly disappear. I am 74 years old now. I have my whole life ahead of me. Maybe 10 years. Maybe 20. Maybe more. And I am going to live every single day on my own terms. Harold spent 52 years taking from me. Taking my youth. My trust. My money. My dignity. But he could not take my strength. And in the end, that was the only thing that really mattered. 3 months ago, I ran into Vivian at the grocery store. She looked old. Tired. Broken. She tried to avoid me, but I walked right up to her. "Hello, Vivian," I said calmly. She looked at me with fear in her eyes. "Loretta, I am sorry. I know that does not mean anything, but I am sorry." "You are right," I said. "It does not mean anything. But I forgive you anyway. Not for you. For me. Because carrying hate around is too heavy. And I am done carrying heavy things for people who do not deserve it." I walked away and left her standing there. And I have never felt lighter in my entire life. So to everyone watching this video, let me tell you something important. If you are in a situation where someone is betraying you, lying to you, stealing from you, whether it is a spouse or a friend or a family member, do not stay silent. Do not make yourself small. Do not let them control the narrative. Stand up. Speak your truth. Fight for what is yours. You are stronger than you think you are. And remember, it is never too late to start over. Never too late to choose yourself. Never too late to write a new chapter. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for listening to my story. If this touched your heart, please hit that like button. Leave a comment telling me what you think. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe to this channel so you never miss another story about strength, survival, and second chances. My name is Loretta May Whitmore. I am 74 years old. And my life is just beginning.